Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at Star Trek Picard Season 3, episode number 9. Yes, it is the penultimate episode of the season. It is the penultimate episode of the series, in fact, because the show is ending at the end of the third season. And there's a lot of sadness because this season has given us a lot of what we actually expected. And I say we, majority of the Trekkies, this is what we expected, this is what we wanted, this is what we love. We want to see the TNG crew getting back together, there being reunions and all that. One last huzzah for the entire crew. And we got that in a lot. So there are a few things that I do want to talk about this episode. My thoughts, basically, a couple of things that I'm not happy about, a lot of things to be happy and positive about, but let's talk about one of the things that I did not like, for the fact that, yes, resistance is futile. It is the Borg who are the main villains. So we get to see Jack being led through visions, basically through the empath Deanna Troi. She guides him through checking to see what's beyond the red door, and when she opens it, she finds out that it's the Borg. It's basically a huge Borg cube that she finds. It is the Borg cube of the Queen. By the way, tip of the hat to Alice Krige. She plays the Borg Queen once again. We don't know which Borg Queen this is. The one that we saw in Nemesis was killed, so this is a different one. We think in three-dimensional terms. Anyway, Deanna gets spooked. She goes and tells his parents, and apparently, as we come to find out a little later, that when Picard was actually taken over by the Borg, and they made him locutus of Borg, basically the voice, the individual figure that talked, for the Borg. They also implemented something in his DNA, which later on, Starfleet medicals, including Beverly Crusher, thought to be the symptoms started to show up like rheumatic syndrome. So that's what they kept thinking was the problem with him, and that he would be, that's the disease that he has. That's the same thing which they thought is passed on to Jack Crusher as well, being the dad. But however, it is actually something that the Borg planted, and he was more like a receiver because of that thing implemented into this. It's basically DNA coding, and when he passed it on to Jack, Jack became a transmitter. So that's the reason why the changelings and now the Borg were behind Jack, because they wanted to use him to basically take control of a lot of Starfleet people, using him as a conduit to pass on the control, because they've also planted something through the transporter. So all these Starfleet people whose the brain, the cortex has not actually developed past the minutes, takes you up till the age of 25. After the age of 25, it basically stops for most people. However, I was thinking that should be the case for humans, but is it the same for all other humanoid aliens? That actually was surprising for me. I'm not going to give that a down. It's not a disappointment, just something that seems to be, is it the same for Vulcans, for example? Bajorans? So anyway, that's their plan, to basically infect, take control of all these Starfleet personnel, and then attack Earth, and then basically convert all of them into Borg, assimilate all of them into being Borg, because that's what they want. They want to take over Starfleet, and they want to take over Earth. So that being the shock revelation. However, the fact is, and this is one of my biggest disappointments, that it is the Borg once again. We've seen the Borg, being part of season 1 and season 2. Are they really that scary this time? I mean, they do really do it well. But if they hadn't had the Borg being the villain in, being that kind of role in season two, I would have been a little bit more enthusiastic about the fact that yes, it is the Borg. I was thinking it's going to be something else. So Jack doesn't take this lightly. He is able to control people with their mind. So he manages to get off the ship and take a shuttle and go to the area that he knows that the Borg Queen is. I mean, he's able to get directed over there. But that's what the Borg Queen wants. She wants him to be there and accept his role as a member of the Borg, be the conduit to actually control a lot of Starfleet personnel. Right? While this is happening, Picard blames himself. He is troubled, and there's a very nice moment between him and Data. Data now, who's very different from the Data that he was, but he asks him, "Would you like me to say something that's comforting?" And Picard says, "I don't think it'll work." And Data did the only thing which he could do at this particular point. The relationship, the friendship between the two of them shines over here because Data just puts his hand on, comforting hand on the shoulder of Picard, and you can see that little smile that he's got. It actually does something, and he pats him on the hand as he, that was really beautiful to see, to be honest. Anyway, so things start getting difficult because now we are at the point where the Confederation Day is. Sorry, what is it? Federation Day is actually happening. That particular event is happening, and the fleet are mostly at Earth, at Space Dock, and the celebrations are launched with I think it's she's a higher admiral than Picard is, Admiral Shelby from she's got that big history with both Picard as well as especially with Riker. Riker doesn't like her at all, and I'm sure she doesn't like him as either. Excuse me, I'm a bit sleepy. So she is now at the forefront. She's actually talking basically about the events of 250 years ago, when the launch of the NX-01 Enterprise, launched the first Warp 5 capable ship, and then talking about how the Federation came into place because of a lot of their efforts, and then the Borg attack. So there's actually something else in this particular episode, which again, it doesn't feel like it's something that should have been there. It's not a good strategy. So Starfleet has got this thing where they connect all the spaceships so they can form a impenetrable net over the Earth, over any planet for that matter, over basically a huge section of Federation space. That is not a good idea, and that's what the Borg basically takes. So once they take control of the Starfleet personnel, they're going to use that to attack Earth. Doesn't make much sense. We've already seen this in both Star Trek Prodigy, and we've seen it in Star Trek Lower Decks. So a little bit. So it's like, why are we seeing the same thing again? And this is my second big down after the Borg. I've got a third big issue with this episode, and I'll tell that a little later. Although it does have it's a much lesser thing, because the way that they actually do it is pretty good. Anyway, so pretty soon Jack reaches the Borg cube. He actually goes to try and kill the Queen, but of course he is tempted by her powers over him. She talks to him and says, this is your destiny kind of thing and all that. And basically he gives into it, and he is controlled by her, and using him as the conduit, as the transmitter, they start affecting a lot of the younger Starfleet personnel who have been through the transport recently. Once the Borg, the changelings and the Borg basically made alterations to the method, using the changelings to infiltrate Starfleet, make the changes in the transporter, and then of course get the body of Picard to get the that particular DNA code from him out as well, and then using Jack. So yeah, seems a little odd, but yeah, of course this is science fiction. Anyway, so that's basically their plan now working. They start getting infected. People on the USS Titan start attacking the older Starfleet personnel, like Picard and company, like Liam Shaw, and we also see Admiral Shelby getting killed on the USS Enterprise F. Did I mention that she was on the Enterprise F? We've never seen this particular ship in live action before, so it was nice to see that particular ship as well. Although it's not one of my favorites, but I know a lot of Star Trek fans do like it. I believe it's on Star Trek Online and maybe on some of the other books as well. But yeah, excuse me. So we think she's killed, and it just kind of looks like she's killed. And then there's shootout on the Titan. Picard and company start go to escape. They meet up with Raffi 7 of 9. Raffi, Worf, and the others, and they make their way to a particular section where they sneak into a shuttle. But there is a little shootout before that, and Liam Shaw is killed. Todd Satchwick is actually, for me, one of the plus points. Initially I didn't like him, of course, because he was being a jerk. He was being an asshole, like he actually mentions on the show. But I think he has grown on all of us. He was a welcome addition to the legacy of Star Trek, and I think we are all sad to know that the character actually dies. And the best thing, the guy who's a little bit of a bigot, sort of, because he keeps calling 7 of 9 by her original human name, Commander Annika Hansen, instead of Commander 7 of 9. Because of his particular issue with the Borg, his history with the Borg. So, not really calling her by the name that she would have wanted. And at the end, he says, this is when he's, just as he's dying on the deck, he says, this is not my ship anymore. This is yours now, Commander. He says Commander 7 of 9. And he passes on basically the control of the ship onto her as she tries to comfort him. So while the Enterprise, our crew, leave on the shuttle, Raffi stays behind with 7, and they're going to fight it off with the Borgified, the assimilated people, and anybody else who's not affected by the Borg assimilation. So that's what they leave the Titan. They leave Raffi and 7 behind, and the rest of them leave. They know they need to find something, so they go to Geordi. Basically takes the shuttle with him, Picard, and he's pretty upset because both his daughters get affected, I suppose, because they are under the age of 25. So as a father, he's very worried, but he knows he can't do anything right now. So on the shuttle, it's him, it's Picard, it's Riker, it's Deanna Troi, it's Beverly Crusher, it's Data, and Worf, our crew, the Next Generation crew. They're leaving, and the biggest nostalgia burst, I am telling you, I might cry again, but I did have some tears in my eyes as I saw it, and I was watching it late at night, and I gave a big yell as fuck yeah, because when they get to the Starfleet Museum, he tells them there's one ship that we can use, because this ship, like some of the others, like some of the other relics over there, is not connected to all the other ships in Starfleet, because it was decommissioned a while back. And guess which one it is? No surprises, it is the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D, baby, the big lady the beautiful lady, the grand old dame of Star Trek, The Next Generation, TNG. She is back and she's as beautiful as ever. So apparently Geordie has spent the last 20 years in his spare time trying to rebuild the ship again. On his spare time. Well, basically he got the saucer section from the planet that they had crashed on all the way back in Star Trek Generations, and then he got the lower part from another ship that has been decommissioned, and he basically rebuilds it again. We see them going back onto the ship, and oh baby, the most wonderful scene to see them, those actors, those characters step onto the bridge of the D, and we have fucking lights. We have proper lights. I mean, Picard and Discovery for that matter as well is plagued by this dim light thing which I can't stand. It's too dark. It's not the DC universe, guys. It's the Star Trek universe. But on the D, you've got proper lights, and you've got Data going and touching his chair. Hello, chair. That's beautiful to see. And then Picard sees all this. They're all, swelling with, welling up with emotion. Excuse me. My dinner is coming out. And Picard says, it's only at this moment that I realize that the thing that I missed the most about the ship, and we think he's going to say about is all of them. He says, no, it was a carpet. That's beautiful. And yep, the ship is now under the command of Picard, and engage. Make it slow, engage. They're now off to try and save Federation, the Earth, Starfleet. Is somebody going to die in this series? I do not know. I have a feeling, because they did say that not everyone's going to come out alive. We already have the death of Shaw. We already have minor characters like Shelby, and supporting characters like Rose Allen dying. So, but I think they're going to kill off one of the main cast. I think it's Picard. It could be Riker. I don't know who else it could be. I don't think it's going to be Data, because we just got Data back. So I think it's going to be Picard or Riker, I think. Or possibly even Beverly Crusher. And I don't want to see any of those things happening. Let's leave them alone. Let's give them the big send-off that we want, and have them sail off into the sunset one last time before they go back to their lives, and end the show that way. We don't know. One more week. It's actually today's a Saturday, so yeah, just another few more days to go to see. I'll be watching it on a Friday night most probably, or maybe the Friday afternoon, because I've got the Friday off. So yeah, we shall wait for the next episode. It's been 18 minutes. I didn't mean to ramble on for so long, but yeah, I really like this episode. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said, there's a couple of things I don't like about it, but yeah, on the last part, the nostalgia factor, wow, really blew me away. Thanks, guys. Good night.